Hello and welcome, I am Henry Plays and this is my review of Forager. This video is going to be part of a new series called Games Pass Reviews, where I'll find new games on the Xbox or PC Games Pass and review them to see if it's a game that suits you. If that sounds like something you'd enjoy, please don't forget to subscribe so that you do not miss out on any future videos. This video is going to be just like Neon Abyss, and I'm going to try to run through the description of the game as fast as possible so that you can get to the review section of the video quicker. Tell me if you like that down below in the comments. On screen right now you'll be seeing the timestamps for the different sections of the video. So without wasting any more time, on with the video. Forager is a highly rated 2D adventure survival game developed by Mariano Cavallo of Hop Frog Game Studios. He states on his website that the game was inspired by The Legend of Zelda and more modern titles such as Terraria, Stardew Valley and Minecraft. In the game, you start on a small island filled with different minerals and greenery. You have to craft, build and upgrade your items in order to survive effectively, whilst ensuring that your energy and health levels are kept above zero. So the standard really for any survival games. All players are able to buy islands to expand your empire and explore a giant world filled with puzzles, friendly characters and enemies. Sometimes you're also greeted to a secret when buying new islands. This normally comes in the shape of a chest. Friendly characters will also give you quests which will sometimes treat you to unique rewards, all of which will help you along your journey. Just a quick afternote, the way I described it then made it sound like you have to pay money. It's not, it's coins that you make in the game completely with gold. No microtransactions. You will also craft interesting items, build unique and attractive bases whilst learning powerful skills and abilities. Forager is filled with lots of interesting progression paths and a really addictive gameplay loop for expanding and harvesting. There are dungeons to explore and bosses to slay. Get to the end of this video and I guarantee you will know whether or not this game is for you. Now, I'm going to start off by reviewing some of the more positive aspects of the game before moving on to some of the negative ones. My first positive aspect of this game is the atmosphere. The game lets you play at your own pace by providing you with a generally relaxed atmosphere, which is great. Because normally in survival games, the emphasis is on the surviving and staying alive, and that's more important than anything else. But Forager takes a different, more relaxed approach, which focuses more on the exploration and enjoyment of the game, rather than screaming at you when your character is hungry. Don't get me wrong, the game does still tell you when these things happen, but there's usually a quick fix, like going into your inventory and eating some berries. Overall, I just like how the game switches the focus from surviving to exploring and expanding. Another desirable feature about this game is that there's lots of content to sink plenty of hours into. Actually, I should rephrase that. The content is all generally repetitive and recycled, but each time it repeats itself, it's different if you get me. When you buy a new piece of land, for example, there may be a friendly character there to interact with, or even a chest to open. But there's only so many unique things that you can do on new islands, and considering there's 48 islands, you'll start to rinse and repeat some features after around 10 to 15 islands. But no, sorry, this is a good point. I have played the game for 5 to 10 hours and I've found that the game is actually really fun. The first 10 islands I came across were all unique in their own way. They had some different structures, museums, statues and NPCs. One of them was even a desert. The game has a great level of diversity across all of its content. My final positive point about this game is the constant progression you are experiencing throughout all of your time on the game. Whether you're trying to complete quests for the different friendly characters, or you're chopping down trees. You have an experience bar at the top of your screen that is always rising. With the levels up, you get different skills to choose from. The more you spec into one avenue of skills, the more advanced items you'll be able to craft. An example of this is that you can spec into industry and start making machines and factories that automate everything. Or you can spec into the economy where you will make money quicker and be able to create markets and banks. Each character you create in this game can have a completely different starting path, but it's not just your level that's constantly progressing. You also have the option to upgrade your tools and make more advanced ones. However, there were a few frustrating points about the game that I do wish to run by you. After playing the game for about an hour, it becomes apparent that the rest of the game is going to be very grindy and repetitive. By that I mean, you have to do a lot to get a little. When you're buying new islands, the price dramatically increases after your first 3 or 4, and even then, to get more islands, you just have to do the same methods of making money, and it just starts to become a rinse and repeat process, one of which isn't really the most enjoyable. But at the end of the day, that's what this game is all about. the grinding to get to the next stage, to get to the next weapon, to get to the next upgrade. Lots of people like this factor, but I know that lots of people also don't, and it can be a deal breaker for most people. I didn't mind it so much as towards the beginning, everything was so vastly different that it felt worth it when I grinded out for a new island or tool, but over time, that excitement and joy wears off pretty quickly. Another thing that's quite frustrating is the constant spawning of minerals and trees. You may chop down a tree and within 30 seconds, another tree grows in the exact same spot. This may sound like a good thing, as you'll never run out of materials, but when the trees and rocks are constantly blocking your pathways, bridges and structures, the joke can get pretty old very fast. Not to mention how many things can actually spawn. I only had about 11 or 12 islands in my playthrough, but I'd go and completely harvest one island, leave it for a bit, go back to try and find something, and the island would be full of minerals and trees. The only problem is that this really restricts your movement across the different islands. You're constantly battling the growth of nature in order to return to your main base of operations, and it starts to become much more of a pain the more islands you unlock. This frustration sounds much more like a petty complaint, but honestly, if you play the game, after about an hour or so, you'll be very annoyed and very bored at how much you actually have to do this. My final complaint is that there's not much in the way of a tutorial. When I first launched into the game, I was prompted to open my menu and craft a furnace. I was told nothing about the leveling system, nothing about the crafting system, nothing about the furnace itself, or even a backstory about why I'm in these mysterious lands to begin with. And when a game drops you in the deep end like this, you struggle to really connect with your character or the experience. On this channel, I've previously mentioned games like The Forest, and in that game, you're given the story where your plane has crash landed on the island, and in this game, there's no story for you to be able to sink your teeth into. Again, for some people, this isn't really a deal breaker, but I know for others that it is. You just don't connect with the game as much as you would a game like The Forest. But this game's more inspired by games like Minecraft and Terraria, which is very apparent by the lack of story and the emphasis on building, freedom and expansion. But the game overall feels a lot more like Stardew Valley than any other game. Overall, I think the game is actually really fun. Anybody who enjoys games like Minecraft and Terraria, I would recommend that you give this game a try at least. You may play it for 5 minutes and find out that you don't like it. What have you really lost there? As for anybody who likes Stardew Valley, just download the game now and thank me later, as the two games are very similar in the way that they play. I also recommend this game for anybody who likes smaller, less demanding survival games, or anyone who just wants to try out the genre. Other than Stardew Valley, this game is really unique in the way that it plays out. All the artwork is different to any other game that I've seen before, and it just feels like a completely different game. However, I do not recommend this game for anybody who becomes frustrated easily, as the little pernickety repetitive things that happen in this game can really get to you. I recommend going for a game like Subnautica instead. If you want to watch my review on that, check the card in the top right hand corner of your screen, or if I've forgotten to do that, check out my YouTube channel. Just don't come into this game and expect everything to happen very quickly. Don't expect to upgrade your pickaxe immediately because it's slow, or don't expect to find a desert straight away because it all just takes time and effort. And at the end of the day, the game is free if you already have the Games Pass. Download it if you like what you've seen or heard today. You really won't lose anything, considering the download is basically tiny. Just quickly before I wrap the video up, I'm thinking of adding a section into my videos where I talk about the achievements of a game and how hard or easy it may be to get all of them. Tell me if this would be a welcome feature down below in the comments. Thank you very much. Well, that about wraps it up. Thank you all very much for watching. If you have enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe so that you do not miss any future related videos. Check out my other social medias down in the description and comment down below any questions or queries that you may have. Thank you all very much for watching. Have a great day. Ciao.